I appreciate everybody joining us and getting together, unfortunately still virtually, for our show here. But I think we're going to end up calling the show Protecting and Reconnecting is what we're talking about here. Of course, this show is put on by Amy Childs here, Sales and Event Director at Springhill Suites, New Smyrna Beach. And before we get started, I'm just going to go around the horn and everybody introduce yourself. If you would, Amy, yourself first, little background if you want to, just a minute or less though.
Hello, it's Amy Childs, Springhill Suites Director of Sales. We also are in charge of events here. So we do have oceanfront patio events, meeting events, corporate events, all the above.
All right. And sitting to the right of me, Jodi, Hinkle, CEO of Sanipro, New Smyrna Beach.
Hi, everybody. I'm delighted to be here. I am the CEO of Sanipro NSB and eager to be working with the various businesses in town and in the local area to help them come up with a safe reopen plan, and are eager to be teaming up with the Marriott to make their shared meeting space the safest we can possibly make it.
All right. And also, while we're on the Sanipro, the president of Sanipro is also here, Melissa Tayo-Grooten.
Nope.
Nope. Did I get it wrong?
Yeah. I'll help you out with that. It's Melissa Tayo-Grooten.
Tayo-Grooten. Oh, well, there we go. Now we got it right. I appreciate it. Sorry about that. But
That's okay.
A little introduction too.
So I am the president and owner of the Sanipro NSB, and I am a native Floridian, and I was engaged out here at New Smyrna Beach, and I am excited about helping our businesses here in New Smyrna, and looking forward to it.
I appreciate you being here, Melissa, and a well-known person in the meeting and events world. Love and grateful to have you on. Mr. Mark Benson, this is a long title now, President of Meeting Professionals International, MPI, of Greater Orlando, the second largest chapter in the U.S., by the way, and also the President of Applied Meetings and Hospitality Solutions, a global meeting management company based in Orlando, Florida. Mark, thank you for being on the show, too.
My pleasure.
Well, I think the title's enough introduction, right? I think we covered.
I think it says it right there.
Yeah, involved in meetings, right? Let's just say that anything meetings, Mark is involved, and also joining us a infection prevention consultant, Steve McNabb.
Hello.
Hello, Steve. How are you doing, man? Doing okay?
Yeah, you?
We're doing all right. Certainly missing out on the in-space meeting for sure. So a round of experts, I guess, is what we really are here sitting at the table. My name is Adam Lowry. I am the president of a digital marketing company, the Residuals Group. We handle a lot of the marketing out here for Springhill Suites Marriott, New Smyrna Beach. We do a lot of production, podcast production. I host a whole bunch of other shows. I'm an author and a whole bunch of other things that I like to talk about, but I'm not what's important here. So to start the question, I'd like to ask everybody, and if we'll just stick kind of with the order that we introduced ourselves in to answer these questions, getting away from, these virtual meetings and possibly, right, being able to come back with the right protocols of meeting in person. For everybody here, Amy, directed at you first. What is it that excites you, about getting to meet face-to-face with team members again?
So the main thing about that is just being able to connect is the main word there, the reconnecting, because you want to be able to put your team members, your employees, your family members in the same room and be able to reconnect again, especially after being apart from each other for so long. Also, when you have your team members together, your employees together, their energy grows, the ideas grow. It really helps your company to transform and do better things, with your relaxed, energized, reconnected employees. And we're hoping to, with this program that we're doing with the Protecting and Reconnecting, to go ahead and have everybody feel a lot or ease their minds to come back to the actual meeting spaces that are live and in banquet rooms instead of these the virtual meetings, because you do lose a bit of your connection with a virtual meeting.
Yeah, we certainly do. And posing that same question, Jodi, to you.
Sure. So I have a background of 20 years in corporate healthcare and really value the energy that comes with live discussion. live meetings. And we've all just been through this significant period that may have included some contemplation for all of us, right?
Sure.
And so thinking about the corporate clients that Springhill Suites provides space for here, getting those teams together again and really having a chance to share the new ideas and rebuild the enthusiasm to get back focused again on the corporate initiatives that they're going to be expected to be fulfilling through this next phase of transition that we're all facing. I think the live space is invaluable.
Yeah, I would agree. Melissa, to add to that.
I'm just very excited about being able to help Springhill Suites bring their corporate clients back in. And I'm excited to share what we're here for and what we're going to be able to provide to help people feel confident that they can come back to do that.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing to see faces again. And Mark, on to you, sir.
Yeah, it's a very interesting time right now. And I think that there's a lot of unknown. And right now, we're doing things that are just totally throwing us off balance in this virtual world. But the virtual world isn't the world that we're designed to live in, to be in as people, right? We're meant to be together. And there's certain synergies and things that just can only happen in that environment when we are together, right? And even when you start taking a look at, the corporate objectives to the meeting side of things, it doesn't really come across the same as being in a place where it's got a stage or, you're all in the same room and what have you. And then the social part of the meetings world is missed in this type of environment. The other side of it, and especially for Springhill Suites, is that there's the travel incentive portion of the business other than the meeting side. That reward that someone gets for being an overachiever and performing, or as part of a corporation's distribution system, being able to choose, well, I'm going to sell ABC's air conditioning units versus XYZ's because I like the product, but also I like that incentive trip that I go on and I historically enjoy.
Yeah, I've said a lot there. I'm going to add to some of this, but Steve and yourself, sir.
The way I'm looking at it is humans are very social, right? We interact with one another. Right now, when I'm interacting with you, I'm interacting with a screen. It's very different. I've come 19 years experience, all corporate experience, formerly of SC Johnson Wax and then Medline Industries. And we always had people in our meeting rooms. We were always interacting with them. Now we've gone to a different thing where we're actually almost struggling to communicate live in person. So that's going to be another hurdle I can see having to get over with, is we have to learn how to communicate again, first off, and then you have this fear factor, and everybody has a different fear factor. Some people are on one side of the spectrum, they don't care about masks, they don't care about gloves, they just want to live their life and get on with it. Then you have these other people that are very, very scared. So I'm looking forward to getting people back in the room, actually taking down the people that are scared to make them feel more comfortable with things. And then at the same time, the people that aren't scared at all, how to almost train their mentality to be sensitive to people that are frightened about it. Get everybody on the same page, and I think you can do that through education, and let everybody understand the why behind what you do.
Yeah, I think you nail it with that. The education competence is certainly a way that we can bring down fear. Myself being an ex-psychologist, right, as each one has spoke about almost a similar impact, right, of the idea of fear, but the idea of the energy missing of the group. And also as a comedian, it's terrible trying to do stand-up through Zoom, right, or any other virtual platform, right? I mean, that energy that gets created in a room, whether it's comedy, whether it's an event, whether it's a corporate retreat, a team-building activity, or even, like you said there, Steve, a business meeting, right? Ideas thrive off that energy. So I love all of those answers. I think so many fears were touched on by yourself there, Steve, but educating those people, which is what we're trying to do here, is educating the people, giving some competence that can bring down the redlining of that fear. Maybe we can get some energy back in some meeting rooms again. And coming off that, Mark, my question would come directly to you, being that you are involved every which way in events. You seem to be some event master, really, if you will. You've seen them all. And I would assume been in the space for a long time. What have you seen happening in the event and meeting planners market space, either on a micro level or a macro level?
We're seeing a lot of indecision is what we're seeing right now. I mean, virtual meetings is forefront. We had a 3,000 person meeting that was supposed to take place in Las Vegas a couple weeks ago. That's now become a virtual meeting, and that happens to be like a user conference for a software company. Well, user conferences, that's your clients attending. They're going to make their best stab at it, to do it virtually. But they know that type of meeting needs to really be live. So then, we're seeing that in the immediate time frame that we're in now. And now there's a lot of discussion going into the fall about hybrid meetings, because to what Steve mentioned, you have some people that can go to the meeting, feel that they can go to the meeting, and some that go, hey, I'm not ready yet. And so we'll go through that. And but yeah, at the same time, I think we're all gravitating to some end result where we can go to a meeting and know that we're safe, or an incentive program and know that we're safe. And we're seeing in the first quarter of next year a lot of activity. The sales kickoff meetings that need to take place are on the books. There's provisions in place. Every hotel company, whether you're an independent or you're the big Marriott brand, are doing things that are probably over and above that, more than they really need to do, but they're doing it so we can get to that next phase, right? We're seeing a lot of programs that we had this year, scheduled for this year, that are very important to still take place. For instance, I mentioned the incentives. There's people that earn these travel incentive programs, and they look forward to them, and they're going to really look forward to them after being cooped up for so long. So those are also been moved to next year. And in fact, we have one client that has their 2020 program that was going to operate this year for people that performed in 2019. They get paid off in 20. That's going to happen in January. Their heating air conditioning company, those people are still selling air conditioners, this year, and the performance is also going to be in 2021, the payoff. So they're going to actually have two programs, and it could be the same winners on both, or some could be the same winners on both. So I guess what we're seeing is that we sense an involvement, but how and when we evolve is the big question, because it's this uncharted territory that we just don't know, and we're trying to figure out. And it's not so much the planning people that are having this problem. It's not so much some of the senior executives. It's the corporations and the CEOs level, C-level, that is steering the ship, because you never want to put anyone at risk or be liable.
Yeah, that's the dangerous part of it for sure. Amy, anything to add to that? I saw you writing a couple things down and nodding your head to some of the things Mark said.
Well, I was just saying that I had a few large conferences too that were scheduled for this year that had to extend. And I probably, just due to they are already scheduled for somewhere else next year, not have them back until 2020. But the good news is that, people are rescheduling.
2021.
So, 2021, I'm
Just
sorry. But people are rescheduling. So, they are ready to come back. They are ready to, like Mark said, to celebrate their accomplishments, to celebrate their employees' accomplishments, which, should be celebrated, and they should be celebrated, in the way that they're used to doing so. So we're looking forward to, opening these gates back up to, by protecting. And that is one of the reasons why Springhill Suites is doing what we're doing, because we know the corporate companies, their fear or their concern is their employees. That's what their main thrive is to make sure that they are protecting their employees. And that's what we want to also ensure them, that Springhill Suites, can set up a safe environment for them to have their meetings.
Yeah, is this this birth the initiative really the Protecting and Reconnecting initiative? Can you speak about that? About what you're doing with that, some of the add-ons, or even over the top? I know we'll get to the Sanipro solution too, but for you yourself, what does that mean for you?
So what we're doing, and again, everybody has their own concerns and their own fears, and we have had some, luckily we have had some groups that are already calling us back to have their meeting as soon as we can, and they don't want anything. They don't want any masks. They don't, it's not that they don't care, but again, it's everybody has their own feelings about it.
It's like what Steve was saying earlier.
Yeah, like what Steve was saying earlier. But at the same time, we are prepared for that corporate company that does need the extra incentives, that does need. So we will, you can have masks through us for your meeting. We are doing with the Sanipro program to where the night before your meeting starts, your room is being disinfected. If you need the extra coverage in your room, Jodi is going to go over that machine that gives you the extra coverage in your room. While you're meeting, while everybody is in the room together. So you would have your disinfecting that happens that night before your meeting, and then we're still having some more protection for you going on the whole time everybody is in the meeting with you. And then, your caterers can come in, you speak with them, you can go over if you want single serve. Basically, it's all about what you feel you need and the fact that we're here for you and we're okay with either way you would like to go with it.
Yeah, and going above and beyond too with the applications you're adding for sure.
Right.
And to get into that, the last 10 minutes here, I'd really like to dive into Sanipro and maybe get a little technical down the line, right? But kind of I'll address Jodi or Melissa both on the question here. How is it that Sanipro is addressing the concerns about the live meeting spaces for Springhill Suites Marriott? Or Springhill Suites New Smyrna Beach, sorry.
Yes, we recognize the importance of regaining the customer, the corporate office, and the employees, the staff, the associates, regaining all of their confidence in that the setup here is the best that it can possibly be for them to return and have a shared meeting space. And so we come in with a three-prong approach, really. There's the surface disinfectant. Steve will be going into some of the science behind how these things work, but there's the surface disinfectant. It's an EPA approved disinfectant. It's also a green seal certified. So we're not using any hazardous chemicals at all.
No bleach.
No bleach. No poisoning yourself with bleach.
Right.
None of that stuff. We also utilize an air disinfectant, the SAM, Scientific Air Management.
Is that R2D2 thing there next to you?
It is an R2D2 thing right here. And we did utilize the both services today in order to prepare for this meeting, and that's why we're not actually here wearing masks. And
thank you. I feel much safer in the meeting room here.
Yes.
And third, we really wanted to empower people to see with their own eyes the steps that are being taken in cleaning and disinfecting protocols. And so we have a near frequency communication tags that actually can be utilized as a QR code reader. And any guest can come over with their smartphone, scan the QR code reader, and up will pop for them the cleaning protocols, the disinfecting protocols, and live date and time stamps so they can see for themselves what's really going on behind the scenes in order to prepare for them to come.
More education to bring that fear level down.
Right. And as we build their confidence and really educate them about what they can do as a collective group coming into the hotel to honor the sensitivity of everybody there, because some are on that, there's various spots on that spectrum of how to feel comfortable and what's necessary to be safe, like Steve said. So we're hoping to really engage through Amy, the corporate guests, to really make an agreement with each other about coming in and behaving in ways that include hand washing and sanitizing their hands and wearing masks if that's what the group determines. But, we're all going to be making new kinds of agreements with each other as we get out there in the real world again.
That we are. Melissa, president of Sanipro, anything to add to that of what Jodi said?
No, I'm totally on board with everything that she said. I feel like 100% we just want people to feel comfortable and confident that they can come back and be able to have that meeting space and be able to be with each other. I think it helps people come together. I do think the program that we do have in place is top notch. So I'm very excited about it. And the SAM 400 that's sitting next to her is the air disinfectant. And it's the one thing that is the constant. And it's a reminder that there is disinfecting happening in a room while you're there. And because the rest of it, you really can't see that happening. It's all happened before you. And so when you can visually see things, I think that helps bring some confidence.
It certainly does. And I know, Amy, you'll have the sign that'll be up with some of the things that you're offering, the extra hand sanitizers, masks, if you'd like, all those things to customize anybody's event that they're feeling. I know we put together something really neat that you'll be posting up, right?
Yes.
That covers that protocol. And so, Steve, let's get into the science of this. Jodi mentioned a difference between surface and air, right? That we're cleaning surface and air. Can you kind of walk into that for a guy that's not a science major?
Absolutely. So when it comes down to air, when like if I'm talking to you, let's say you were actually here and this is about a 2.5, 3 foot distance, I'm actually spraying the screen with microparticles. So that's why, you know, the government has laid out this 6-foot rule for separation. Microparticles stay in the air for a handful of hours, depending on the type of germ it is. And then it'll eventually settle to a surface if it's not brought into the lungs or brought through the air vents and out the building. When it comes down to surface contamination, it's a little different. It is usually contaminated through the hands. So as you were talking about, you're going to have a hand sanitizer type station. Can you walk me through what you're doing really with that? Because in order to do a solid program, Sanipro is providing you guys air and surface disinfection. But the third piece is that hand care, because when people come into the room and if they touch the surfaces and their hands are contaminated, now you're recontaminating things. So can you help me out with that? Because I want to make sure as we approach this, we're bringing the best technologies to you, but we're also making sure that as you guys have your meetings and everything else, that people aren't constantly recontaminating all the efforts of the machine, as well as the people that are doing the disinfection.
And so the application here is probably about a 3-part question. I understand the idea of an electrostatic sprayer, but if you would kind of cover what that means for a little bit. And I believe it's Annihilair is the chemical that you're using. Sort of the chemical compound, is it safe for humans? How long does it last, right? Do you have to clear out the room, right? Put it back in? How's this electrostatic work? And kind of walk through some of those things.
So for an electrostatic sprayer, what they do is they provide an electrical charge to the liquid. When you do that, it's like a static cling charge. So when it's sprayed, it'll bind to a surface, wrap around the surface, and also get into all the little nooks and crannies. The static charge also allows the liquid to stay suspended on the surface, which is very, very important when it is related to disinfectant. Disinfectants have what are referred to as contact times. And this is a thing that gets missed in almost every single industry I've ever seen, including the healthcare industry in some cases, where people don't truly understand what a contact time is, and electrostatic sprayer helps bridge that. For those that don't know what a contact time is, it's the time that disinfectant has to remain wet on the surface in order to achieve kill. If it's running off the surface, now your surface is going to dry significantly faster, and you're not going to achieve the kill that you were looking for. The electrostatic sprayer helps make that liquid stay on the surface and helps you achieve that contact time that you need to get the disinfection that you need.
Science is beautiful. Gets all the places where people miss where they're wiping, right? I mean, getting underneath keeps a little bond to it on the top as well. The future of, well, while I'm on it, I got about a minute here before we move on. The difference between sanitizing and disinfecting.
Absolutely. So easiest way I can frame it out is when you go to a restaurant and you see them with those little red pails and they're wiping down the surface, what they're doing is they're applying a sanitizer in that case. And a sanitizer is a low-level version of a disinfectant. It kills significantly less. However, it is significantly less harmful and does not need to be rinsed if it were to be ingested. Where a disinfectant, you wouldn't be able to apply that to a surface and then eat the food off of that surface. So you'll see it in from a log reduction standpoint. We can go into log reductions after. But when you're looking at a disinfectant and how it performs, a disinfectant has between a 5 and 6 log reduction, which is 99.999. And when you're dealing with it in terms of pathogens, there's millions upon millions, not billions on the surface, right? That log reduction is important. Sanitizing claims a 3 log reduction, 99.9% reduction. If we were to have calculators available, if you take 1,000,000 times 0.999, a sanitizing claim, you're left with 1,000. You say, wow, that's pretty good in terms of organisms, but they grow really fast. They multiply. Viruses are a little different. Viruses need a human host cell to multiply, but we're not always just dealing with viruses, right? We're dealing with bacteria, and it runs rampant pretty much everywhere you go. So those log reductions are very, very important to achieve. And sanitizing is, as I said, it's a low-level disinfectant, where a high-level disinfectant achieves the majority of the kills. So if you were to take 0.999999 times that million pathogen example, you're left with 1, probably 0.
Beautiful. And I think you had some canine support for you there on that one. Yeah,
I
had a crowd.
I want to thank you for allowing my dog to interject.
I think that was just support. That's all it is. Now, Amy, this is one of the add-ons that you're offering your businesses, corporations, guests, and what have you that come out here and book meetings with you?
Correct. Yes. So they can actually select different options that we can, whether we're doing the air machine, we're disinfecting the meeting room before the night before the meeting, and of course the mask and the hand sanitizer. The hand sanitizer will be at the door, so as you enter, you hand sanitize, and then you're on into the room. So it's right there at the doors where we are hanging the hand sanitizer, so you can just, right as you come in, hand sanitize and just go in and sit down for your meeting. So yes, it is definitely options. Not everybody has to have them if they choose not to, but they are there for you if that's what you would like to use.
And I can upgrade to the Sanipro package, and I'm getting everything disinfected, not sanitized.
Right, disinfected.
That's right. We would actually come in following the typical cleaning protocols and do the disinfecting, the surface disinfecting and the air disinfecting after the cleaning is done during the night when nobody's here, so that as the group is coming in the following morning, the room is at ground zero. And as Steve mentioned, each time somebody's walking into the room, they're bringing in with them any pathogens that they may have, right? So we want to be sure that we have the hand washing and the hand sanitizer available for anybody that's entering the space. We've talked a lot about leaving personal belongings up in the room and not necessarily bringing a big bag of stuff, not necessarily handing out all the marketing materials and the slides, the printed slides and such, but sharing them by email before the meeting and then projecting them during the meeting to really, foster a conversation, a group conversation, and still have a visual to keep people tied to each of the objectives that they're trying to cover.
Yeah, I think that was a beautiful addition, right, is limiting the things that carry and bring in the germs, as well as the spacing of the furniture that we talked about, and the disinfecting of the room, air, and surface, both with Sanipro. Mark, how do you see these types of protection measures affecting meeting space in the event market space moving forward, or maybe getting back sooner?
Well, I think it's going to help us get back sooner. That's a positive thing to everything that we've been discussing. To what Steve said about the people that have the high anxiety and the ones that don't, right? But great lessons have been learned here, really, when you think about it. I mean, maybe most of us have always washed our hands and had good hygiene and what have you, and all the things that a virus has issue with, right?
Right. It's new to me, man. I didn't know. I was like, I had to wash my hands. I didn't know, man. I'm kidding.
Right. But well, it's amazing.
Really
There's billions of people in the world, and everyone's got their own thing, and it's great that they have that. But to answer the question, I think that this is great. It's going to get us back. There's an obvious cost to these things. So how that plays out in a game is the next step, right? Someone's going to pay for this. If the hotelier is doing it and just giving it, well, now their profit margin is shrinking more at a time that they need it more than ever because they've been closed, right? So it's probably going to be passed on at some point to the consumer based on what the consumer's needs are. There might be some base underlying things that are done. These are new standards. We're doing these. Not going to cost you anything, but it does. It's somewhere back in the profitability of a hotelier, right?
Sure.
So we're going to pay to have all of this one way or another. The other thing that we haven't talked about, and I love what we've talked about, is really the problem isn't the hotel. The problem isn't a cruise ship, right? The problem are the people that are infected or the virus itself. And having control of having testing, whether it's before you come to the meeting or having, there's been discussions in the industry about a health passport, right?
Yep.
Have you been tested and where have you been? And there's an event coming here to Orlando. It's a fairly sizable event in August where they're testing everyone before they come. They're testing people while they're here, and they're testing people as they leave.
Yeah, it's a lot of the major events. Like the UFC was putting on the fight still in Jacksonville. They tested everybody pre-flight, post-flight, before the fight. I mean, some of those events that are still going on with no crowd, that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, but I look at this, and I guess maybe in a positive way, I'm hopeful that this is a temporary thing that leaves us with some great protocols going forward. Maybe not as full blown as what we're talking about today. I think today we're looking at a situation that we're trying to take care of and get back on track. But coming up with a higher level of standards that are reasonable, that everyone can play with and just be better at being business people with.
Yeah, I agree. Now we know, right? Now we have a protocol, a roadmap, right? Some new science is emerging along the way. Us taking a closer look at the protocols we use in events or marketing, even in meetings. Certainly, we've learned how to use virtual meetings. Now we're quite educated. And so for the last, I want to give everybody a minute to sort of reflect on the meeting. Anything that maybe you wanted to talk about, as Mark mentioned, what we didn't talk about, or something you want to mention, take a minute or so. We got about 5 left here. And go ahead and, I don't know, anything that we should have talked about, wish you would have talked about, or something to bring up. Amy, I'll start with you.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I know that Mark had mentioned on the cost side of it, and I just want to, reconfirm that here with us at Springhill Suites NSB, we are working on making it as cost effective as possible for the corporations too, because at the same time, if it costs too much money to come back, they're not coming back. So that also has been considered here. So we, are working with keeping everything still cost effective for your meetings.
Yeah, clean and cost effective. Jodi?
Yeah. I'd just like to add, the cost factor that's reality, right? So thank you, Mark, for pointing that out. And I really take pride in the fact that we do an on-site consultation that's complimentary to really come up with the most economical, efficient, and successful solution for each business space. And when you have large space, sometimes there's different choices available to utilize this for this area, so really purposeful decisions. Mark said in the beginning that he's feeling a lot of indecision out there.
Sure.
And
it
when
certainly
we can,
is.
right. And when we can get into a conversation that is fact-based, and protocol based and think about customer flow and high traffic areas, there is ways to get creative with space. And I think Amy's done a beautiful job with that here.
No, it's a beautiful thing. It is. Melissa, on to you.
I'm just happy that we were able to get together, and I really want to be able to see this bring back confidence with the people. And just like everything else, as COVID-19 starts to dissipate and people kind of quit worrying about it that little bit, you got the flu season coming up, and I know that everybody that ends up going to a meeting and that the flu season is around, so a huge chunk of them end up going home with the flu, one way or another. So we may have a pandemic going on now, and we're trying to work through that. I just feel like that down the road, we have other things that do happen and that are just as contagious. And I just think that we are just trying to bring some confidence back and be able to move forward and sanitize and disinfect the world.
One business at a time.
One business at a time.
I like it. And Steve, the scientist, on to you, buddy.
Yeah, the way I'm kind of looking at it is, whenever you have like a meeting space, you probably want to have a firm infection control program put in place already. And once you have that in place, you should be marketing it like crazy. Being in the cleaning and disinfection arena as long as I have been, I know that customer confidence is gained almost from the point when they walk into that building. We've all done it before. Like walk into a Target, for example. I don't know if I can say that on here, but if you walk in, their floors are shiny, everything's well arranged, everything smells nice. People will automatically say, this is a great place to shop mentally, even if they're not thinking about the floors and stuff like that. So if you have a strong infection control program, even after COVID-19, you're still going to be able to market the benefits of a strong infection control program. You're going to have the confidence when people walk into that building. And the technologies that these guys are using, it's actually pretty incredible. You're using a chemistry that is as broad spectrum as you can get, right? Bleach is its closest comparison, has all the benefits of bleach without any of the negatives of bleach, like the surface breakdown, corrosion. That's a bleach issue. This technology is very, very safe to use, yet it has the same efficacy, the same power and punch as a bleach solution does. From the air standpoint, you gotta tackle air the same you're tackling the surface, as we discussed earlier. The R2D2 bot that's next to her, having something like that in a meeting room, first off, it's going to draw attention right away. People are going to look at it, what is this? And if you say, oh, this is cleaning the air, this is disinfecting the air that you breathe, we're providing you a safe meeting spot. I think that that's a huge win for the facility. It's a huge win for the customers, especially when you have a lot of people in a room and we're all breathing the same air.
And if I could just add one thing.
Sure.
In this room, every 11 minutes, the entire room is completely air disinfected every 11 minutes.
I feel clean. I feel good.
Right.
I'm ready. And Mark, take this final minute and close us out here.
Sure. Well, first of all, how do you get one of those R2D2 boxes and how much are they? We can have a separate conversation on that, right?
Give us a call.
Yeah. Thank you. I just want to thank Amy for being a leader in the industry, for calling something like this together, because this is what's important. When we can come together, we can, as professionals, and we can shed light on a situation that has got the whole world out of balance, and bring it into our own world, so to speak, in the hospitality industry. Thank you very much, Amy, for doing that. Right?
Thank you. We appreciate you.
Yeah, no, and we learn as we go. There's some very basic things, the very basic principles in life, and we've heard about them. You know, it's about that cleanliness and different things, washing your hands and doing things, protocols that probably have not been as adhered to by most people as they should. And I think we've just got this major tsunami of a wake-up call that we're all going to leave from in a more positive way, right? We're going to have a better sense of, how to take care of ourselves. We're going to have a better sense on how we should run our businesses. We're going to have, in the end, better products and better lives. So like probably you, I look at this, I can't wait to see this in my rear view mirror. I can't wait this to be the thing that we talked about. And remember 2 years ago when we had the COVID-19, right? But we're going to learn and we're going to come out of this better. We're certainly taking our casualties right now. It's affecting everyone economically, globally, except for maybe the people that put on virtual meetings and maybe the sanitation and disinfectant people that are out there. But these are serious things that as we address, we're going to come out of, and we're going to find our way, and we're going to be better for it in the long run. So let's just hope that we can maintain a higher standard going forward, and we can continue to do greater things together.
I am hype. I enjoy that one. Amy, any final words? It's I mean, you put this thing together for us, so.
I just want to say thank you to everybody, that came in and sharing their thoughts and, of course, their expertise and helping us, reopen the doors for everybody to, protecting and reconnecting, to bring their fears and break those walls down and break the barriers down, and let's move forward.
Oh, I love it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jodi, Melissa, Steve, Mark, Amy as well. Thank you very much. And your dog, Melissa.
Thank you.
Chloe there for hanging out with us at Springhill Suites Marriott, New Smyrna Beach here. Sanipro NSB as well. You can look everybody up. Mark, if you're in events, just search Mark Benson. It'll probably pop up. You'll find the guy and everything he does. That is the Meeting Planners International chapter, as well as Applied Meetings and Hospitality Solutions. Thank you all for hanging out here. The final word I think I would leave from it is fear is also contagious. And the way we can combat fear is meetings like this, competence, knowledge, working together, and respect for everybody. And a lot of things I don't hear going through the news that much right now is you can take care of yourself. Take some vitamins, up your immune system, try to stay healthy yourself, and you can combat that. Respect, working together, and I think we will certainly move forward. Amy, thank you all for joining us here live at Springhill Suites Marriott, New Smyrna Beach.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone. Nice meeting you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Pleasure.